Today I'm going to be breaking down Manodzi by Stonebwoy featuring Angelique Kidjo, where as usual I'm going to be talking you through the various elements that I'm picking up on as we go through it. Okay, so we have an absolute banger on our hands here, and there are a couple of standout things for me personally as the one analysing it. So the first one is the collaboration between the two artists, but more importantly the way that the production team choose when to switch them in and out, but also bring them together. The second thing is the lack of shifts and changes that occur within the track, but the subtle things that the production team do to compensate for that. And then the final thing are it's the brass, man. Like those trumpets that we get at the start, nicely stacked, nicely layered, right? Grabbing your attention straight away. So like acting as a hook, but also how they use them in the outro. Now, before we do go ahead and get into the video, there is one more thing I want to talk about. So I've created an analysis and a feedback service. And the reason why I've done this is because I quite often get a lot of artists contacting me, asking me to provide them with an analysis and feedback on their track. Now, because the service is new, I've created 5 slots where I'm giving it away for free. Now, if you are an artist or you know of an artist that can benefit from this type of analysis in order to level up their music, I put a link to it down below in the description. It will literally take you to the booking page where you can book your slot, and it's a one-to-one session with me as well, by the way. If you do want a session, click the link below, book your slot. Right, let's get into some music. Those trumpets, bang, mate.
Mama meme, Mama meme, Mama me. Manojilo, Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manojilo, Manoji boko boko.
Harmonies.
Oh, Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manoji, oh, Manoji boko boko nana mai.
Okay, right, we're going to stop it there. Let's talk about the intro and let's talk about the chorus. Let's kick off with the intro as we always do. So we get opened up and we've got these banging brass instruments, man. Trumpets, stacked, layered, having a real impact on the track, but also acting as an engaging hook from the get-go. We then shift over into the main part of the intro, and this is where those trumpets get removed. We get some guitars, they come in. We get core percussions, they come in. We get the bass that comes in a little bit further on in the intro. You notice that the bass isn't there at the start, and this is also where we get some introductory vocals from both the artists. We then shift over into the chorus. This is where we get the kick drum, we get the snare, and possibly some other percussive elements as well. But this is also where the vocal game, right, that gets leveled up, because what we can hear is on Stonebwoy's back end phrases, we get layering and we get some harmonizing of those vocals. So let's go back and let's listen. Trumpets, mate. Taken out. Guitars. 4 percussions. Introductory vocals. Chorus. There you go, layered back end phrases. More layers there, back end.
Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manoji lo. Manoji boko.
Right, both artists in now.
Oh, Manoji oh. Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manoji 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 oh. Manoji boko boko nana mai.
Okay, right, so before we move into Angelique's kind of section, let's talk about what's happened in the first verse and a few of the shifts and changes that have also happened within the second chorus. Right, so let's talk track structure first. So you'll notice that actually in terms of that, there isn't much that changes. It sounds very, very similar in the verse to what we had in the intro and in the chorus. But there are some subtle changes that actually take effect in order to kind of compensate for that. So the first one is the bass. Now, if you pay attention to the way that the bass is being played in the first verse, it's definitely different, although only slightly, to what we've had in the intro in the chorus. So in the intro and the chorus, the bass is much more consistent on hitting on the kick drum. When we shift over to that verse, that bass does not hit on every single kick drum, man. It just doesn't. And when we take it back, right, just listen out for that. Now, the second subtle change is what happens to the guitars. So in the intro and in the chorus, we've got a lot more of a flow that goes on, right? Like it's kind of almost like it's riffing. But then when we shift over into the first verse, they become a lot more kind of pluckier, right? They've got less of that kind of riffing or consistent flow to them, at least within the first segment. Now, another thing that they're doing to keep things shifting and changing without actually impacting the instrumental is they're playing around with the vocal layering. So what you'll notice is that in the first segment of the first verse, right, Stonebwoy's vocals are being harmonized. We shift into the middle section, they're gone. We hit the back end of the verse before we're going to shift into the chorus, and boom, they come back in. And then the third and final thing is just the way that Stonebwoy is messing around with the rhythmic pattern of the flow in terms of how he's delivering it. It's not consistent. It chops and changes throughout that verse. Let's go back. Let's listen. Right, here we go. There you go. There's the harmonies. Again. No harmonies now. And listen to the bass. Right, layering's going to come back in. There.
Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manoji lo. Manoji boko boko nana mai. Oh, Manoji oh. Manoji boko boko nana mai.
Right, and just quickly to add, with this chorus, it absolutely makes sense that they bring Angelique in on the chorus, right? So we've now got both artists at play, and the reason why that makes sense is because we're about to shift over into her part in the track. So it's kind of like introducing you and warming you up to the section that's about to come. Let's just go back one or two, right?
Manoji lo. Manoji boko boko nana mai. Manoji boko boko nana mai.
Bangs, mate.
Manoji 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 oh. Manoji boko boko nana mai.
E no queito a mere materhorazio a no se senelo a wodora. E no queito a mere materhorazio a no se senelo a wodora.
Yeah, those vocals are fire. Back into the chorus. Right, I'm going to stop it there because we kind of know what's going to happen here, but let's talk about Angelique's section. So there are three main things that I want to bring your attention to. The first one is how big, wide, present, and spacious Angelique's vocals are on this track. And the reason for that is because they've had some effects applied to them, be it echo, be it delay, be it reverb. I mean, it could actually be all three, but they've done that purposely to make those female vocals big, wide, and present on the track and make sure they fill up the entirety of the space. Now, another thing that I absolutely love is there are two subtle things that are occurring within the vocal. The first one is a tail off. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what a tail off is, it's essentially just where, whether it be a back end phrase, it could also just be a word. It doesn't have to be an entire phrase, but it's where it continues after the phrase has finished. But what we've also got in there, and I really love this as well, is we've got some subtle follow-ups, man. Right now, follow-ups normally on a track are quite obvious, and you know, the production team do it purposely, but here they've decided to go down a completely different route. And then the third thing I want you to pay attention to is the chorus. The rhythmic flow of the vocals are different, and they should be, because it's Angelique that's delivering them. But what you'll also notice is that in some areas of that chorus, there is a bigger gap between the ending phrase and the starting phrase. So let's go back and let's listen to that.
Manodzi lo, Manodzi boko boko nana mai. Oh, Manodzi oh, Manodzi boko boko nana mai. Manodzi, Manodzi, Manodzi oh, Manodzi boko boko nana mai.
Listen to how big they are. Right, now you're going to get some tail offs coming up, right? There, listen. Boom. And they pan left and right. We're in the chorus now. Slightly different in terms of rhythm. Harmonize.
Forward I go, never returning, no. The wilderness don't scare me. Straight to the top and aiming now. Now gonna make no evil forces draw me out. Move like a straight line, no go roundabout. Stand confident, tall and stout. Man a military general, them a boy scout. Me tell them, Manodzi lo.
Okay, right, so before we actually go ahead and see the rest of the track out, let's talk about Stonebwoy's final section. So there's three main things that I want you to pay attention to here. So the first one is what Stonebwoy does with his vocals. So when we hit the first section, he's giving us some high notes. We get to the second section, he goes more into his comfort zone. We go third, he brings us back up. And we go fourth section, he brings us back down. Now, the second thing I want to draw your attention to here is we hear much more from Angelique. She's providing some kind of filler vocals in between. And sticking with the theme of filler vocals, which moves us on to our third thing, is when we get into that second segment from Stonebwoy, we actually get more filler vocals, but they're actually coming from him rather than from Angelique. And we get like their noises, really. We get like boat, like this. And we also get some other things in there as well. And not only does that provide just kind of something additional in terms of the vocals, like a nice bit of ear candy, but things like that can also be used to fill the void between a back end phrase and the next phrase starting. So let's go back and let's listen. Yeah, there you go, there's the panning. Right, final section from Stonebwoy coming in. High, low, comfort level. Back up, back down. Right, there's the first noise. Another one coming in. There. Make no evil forces draw me out. Move like a straight line, no go roundabout. Stand confident, tall and stout. Man a military general, them a boy scout. Me tell them, Manodzi low, Manodzi boko boko nanamai. Yeah, Manodzi low, Manodzi boko boko. Vocals, bang. Outro now. Listen to the guitars. Trumpets. Fire, mate. Yeah, that bangs. Okay, that's it for me. If you want to see more breakdown and analysis videos, there'll be things popping up on the screen right now. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you in the next one.